The wedding coordinator didn't even try to hide her discomfort. She stood in front of me with a tight smile, tablet pressed to her chest, eyes darting toward the reception hall and then back to me like she was hoping I'd quietly disappear. After a few awkward seconds, she lifted her hand and pointed toward a narrow space outside the main hall, right next to the coat check and the service door where staff kept passing in and out. "There should be a folding chair there," she said carefully. "That's where you'll be sitting." Before I could ask a single question, my mother walked past us. She didn't slow down, didn't look me in the eye. "Hannah, just sit there, okay?" she said casually, like she was assigning me a chore. "We don't have room at the family table, and honestly, you'll make the photos look unbalanced." Her tone wasn't cruel. That somehow made it worse. It was matter of fact, final. From somewhere behind her, I heard my sister Brianna laugh. In that moment, something inside me went completely still. This wasn't an oversight. This wasn't poor planning. They hadn't forgotten me. They had deliberately removed me. "My name is Hannah. I'm 26 years old. I teach art at a middle school in a small town where students still wave when they see you at the grocery store and bring you drawings years after they leave your class. My life is quiet and modest. I don't chase attention. I don't post every moment online. I love my job, my students, and the calm life I've built with my husband, David. But to my family, quiet always meant insignificant." Brianna is 3 years older than me, and growing up, she was always the center of everything. Beauty pageants turned into modeling, modeling turned into influencing, and my parents treated her life like an investment portfolio. They paid for her apartment, her trips, her clothes, her image. They called it supporting her dreams. When I needed help buying art supplies for my classroom, I was told to be practical and grateful I had a stable job. I got married 2 years earlier. It was a small ceremony. String lights, handmade decorations, close friends, real laughter. My parents arrived late. They didn't help plan it. They didn't contribute financially. I told myself it didn't hurt. I told myself I didn't care. But sitting outside my own sister's wedding reception, holding my purse on my lap like a shield, I finally had to admit the truth. I'd always cared. I'd just learned to hide it. Brianna's wedding was the opposite of mine in every way. An upscale country club, crystal chandeliers, a string quartet, over 200 guests dressed in tailored suits and designer gowns. I arrived alone because David was finishing work and planned to come later. The second I walked through the doors, my mother intercepted me. She looked me up and down slowly. "You wore that?" she asked. My dress was simple, elegant, and something I felt comfortable in. Apparently, comfort wasn't accepted here. As I walked past the bridesmaids, I heard whispers. One of them giggled openly. I kept my head up and walked toward the seating chart, telling myself that once I found my seat, things would feel normal again. I scanned the family table. My parents, Brianna, aunts, uncles, cousins. No Hannah. I checked again. Then again. Finally, I saw my name printed under a separate heading, Overflow Guests. Location, outside the main hall, near the service entrance. My hands started to shake as I approached the coordinator. "I think there's a mistake," I said quietly. She checked her tablet and frowned. "There isn't," she replied gently. "Your mother confirmed this arrangement this morning." It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. I found my parents near the bar and tried to speak, but my mother cut me off instantly. "Don't make a scene, Hannah," she snapped. "Brianna wants the family table to look cohesive for photos." My father added, "And your husband isn't even here yet. One seat outside is fine." Then Brianna appeared beside us, glowing in white. "It's my day," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You've always been awkward in pictures. Just sit outside and let me have this." So I did. The folding chair they'd pointed out was taken minutes later by a vendor. I stood there awkwardly for a moment, then slowly lowered myself to the floor, back against the wall, knees pulled in, purse clutched tightly in my lap. Guests passed by me without a second glance. A cousin stopped and stared. "What are you doing out here? Did you crash?" Someone laughed. I forced a smile because that's what I'd always done, make myself smaller to keep the peace. When the ceremony ended and family photos began, I stood up instinctively and walked toward the group. The photographer checked his list. "I don't have you down for family portraits." "I'm her sister," I said softly. My mother stepped forward. "Immediate family and wedding party." Brianna adjusted her veil without looking at me. "It's a symmetry thing. It's just the vibe." Aunts and uncles I barely spoke to took my place. I was waved away. I watched from behind a column as they smiled and posed like a perfect family. Someone pulled out a phone and took a picture of me standing alone. Later, I saw it posted online with a laughing emoji. Inside the reception, they finally let me in. I was seated at the back with strangers. During the speeches, my father raised his glass and said, "Finally, someone worthy of our family name," glancing in my direction. The maid of honor joked that not everyone gets a fairy tale. Laughter rippled through the room. My face burned as I stared at my plate. Later, my mother sat beside me and whispered, "If you'd married someone more successful, things might be different." "My husband is successful," I replied quietly. She laughed. "He's a civil servant, Hannah. Let's not pretend." They never knew the truth because they never cared enough to ask. Then Brianna approached, slightly drunk, her bridesmaids trailing behind her. "Could you help the catering staff?" she asked. "They're short a server." I stared at her. "You want me to serve at your wedding?" She shrugged. "You're just sitting here anyway." When I refused, my father suggested I leave early. My mother told me to stay out of the way. So I went back outside and sat on the steps again, hands shaking, texting David, "Please come, I need you." When David arrived, he took one look at my face and understood everything. I told him the truth. He didn't argue. He didn't hesitate. He took my hand and led me back inside. When the DJ announced him as a city councilman, the room fell silent. My parents froze. Brianna looked confused. David calmly explained what had happened and showed the photo of me sitting outside. Gasps spread through the crowd. He didn't insult anyone. He didn't raise his voice. He simply said, "My wife deserves respect." Then he took my hand and we walked out together. That night, I cried. Not from humiliation, but from relief. For the first time in my life, I felt seen. And I finally understood something I should have known all along. I never needed their approval. I just needed my own.